Hi there, I'm Amber Leah, and I am the author of Food Triggers, Exchanging Unhealthy Patterns for God-Honoring Habits. And this book is really written from a place of my own personal experience, my journey away from overeating and emotional mismanagement towards stewarding my body and allowing God to really fill the void that I was trying to fill with food. There are lots of different kinds of food triggers. There are both external triggers, things like travel, portion sizes, being in community and being confronted with food that we didn't have any control over preparing. And then there are food triggers that relate to internal things like loneliness and stress and even, issues with your marriage, anything that really originates from within us that causes us to turn toward food. And I think for me, one of the most common food triggers that I have been confronted with in my many years as a certified health coach is emotional mismanagement in general. Whenever we use food for a purpose other than what it was intended for, which really should be fuel and nourishing our bodies, whenever we turn it into a reward or a coping mechanism, or we are just mindlessly eating and we don't even pay attention to the purpose of food in any given day, we turn it into something that God never intended it to be. And because we have within us an innate desire to feel content, to have purpose in our lives, whenever we try to feed that with food, we're going to come up empty because it's really a spiritual need that we're seeking. When we talk about trying to make practical changes on our health journey, it feels overwhelming. Like, where do I begin? I tried all these other things. They didn't work. So now what do I do? And one of the things I try to encourage people with is that it doesn't have to be hard or overwhelming. We don't need a massive change in our lives. We can have just a few simple healthy habits that we could put in place that are going to make a big difference in your health journey. One of those tips that I like to give to people is just hydration. It affects your weight loss journey and your overall health in profound ways. So getting 8-ounce glasses of water every day is a wonderful habit to put in place. Another one is getting enough sleep at night, trying to protect at least 7 hours of sleep, or making room for a little nap during the day, if that's a possibility. But those two things alone can have a big impact on the way you feel and your energy and your overall health long term. There's a Bible verse from the book of Jeremiah, and there's actually similar verses in Psalms describing a tree. And it's a comparison of the righteous man. The person who puts their trust in the Lord is described as a tree firmly planted by streams of water, where even in times of drought, even as they age, they still bear fruit. Their leaves are still green. And I want my life to look like that. When I get older, as I age, as I go on my own personal health journey, I want to flourish. And my eating habits and behaviors before I started my own journey a few years ago, I was not setting myself up for living life to the full as God intended. And so my prayer for all of us is that as we examine what the changes are that we need to make in our health journey, that we're not just fixated on the scale or the mirror, but that instead we recognize that our health journey is really all about fulfilling what God's desire for us is long term, that we can be healthy and strong enough in body, mind, and spirit to do the good work that He has designed for us. And so my prayer for all of us is that we will take that to heart, that all those past diets we've been on, all the struggle, all the shame that we've maybe felt in the past, that we can set that aside. And instead, we can put our trust in the Lord that He's going to help us move in the right direction step by step, and that we too can thrive, that even if we've failed before, those times don't matter. What matters is this time, and today can be your turning point. With my book, Food Triggers, and this topic that we're sharing together on the broadcast, I think you're going to find both the root cause of why are we so much as a culture struggling with food issues, and both biblical and practical help for that person who's just feeling ashamed, who's weary from trying again, who feels defeated before you even start. For those of you that have a lot of guilt and condemnation over your eating habits, or for those that are concerned even just about how is this impacting my family and my kids, and what kind of example am I being? We're going to talk about that in this broadcast. And so I hope you'll click the link and join the conversation about how you too can exchange some of these unhealthy patterns that you've felt really trapped in exchange for God-honoring habits that are going to bless not only you, but also your family.